Jack. All right. You got the stuff?
Yeah. All cleaned and oiled.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hot damn, it's time to get down to the jam. It's time to get down, it's time to get down, it's time to get down to the jam. I said it's time to get down to the knowledge, gonna get on down with the know. On the morning coffee show, on morning coffee with Keith, here on Pop Culture Minefield.
Excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Black?
Can't you see we talking?
White?
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody this morning?
I'm here. I'm awake. Actually, it's a great day outside. And what's great is like my daughter has her day off right now, and she's out in her greenhouse doing or actually she's out in the garden right now doing gardening things. It's like it is spring finally after last week. So,
Yes, it is. How you doing, Martin?
Well, I am not certified awake yet.
he's
But
not
I'm doing
certified
it.
fresh.
Yeah, I'm I'm a little under the weather, but
Oh,
not all is great because I meet you. I have one of my girls that she works from home, and today she decided that she was going to work from our home, and I'm
oh,
gonna have her
wow.
all day here. So that's always extremely nice.
That is. It's always nice to have when the kids are coming in over for a visit or spending time.
Work from home means I'm working from your home.
Yeah, but
My
I
friend,
am just a door away from seeing my girl. That doesn't
Right.
happen all the time.
My
I
best
know.
friend Ronnie has a really funny concept for a surprise party. Surprise! The party's at your house.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow.
So, surprise! You're holding a party.
Hello, Gambit.
Wow.
Morning, Gambit.
Hi, Gambit.
Benny.
My man, Gambit.
And hello, Real Popcorn.
Oh, real popcorn geek.
It is
The
the
little
RPG.
news. The complete series
I,
coming to 4K UHD by way of Arrow Video. Wow.
if
Wow,
you're
wow,
a-
wow.
if you're into that sort of thing, good for you. Now, real, you don't have an idea how difficult it is for my Latin tongue to accommodate to pronounce that. So I'm gonna call you RPG from now on.
Yeah, that's my constant nickname for Real Popcorn Geek is RPG, man. He is the original.
Well,
And hello, James.
hey, Double J.
JJ got you with us 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, this is my favorite JJ. The other JJ, well, he's partially responsible for the unfortunate condition of Hollywood right now. So
The Abrams. So
yeah, what's his name? Yeah. The guy that
Oh,
liked to throw Steven Spielberg's name all over the place. And yeah. I think it's pretty clear now that what little talent J.J. Abrams had pretty much has run its course, and that he surrounded himself with one or two people that were pretty talented, and that everybody else was just pretty much guys who were just hanging around.
I think he's on the
Sure,
wrong
sure.
career path. He should be on PR or politics.
Uh,
I don't know.
the best JJ is Triple J. Yes, RPG, you are correct.
Jar Jar. Hey, you leave Jar Jar Binks alone, okay? He's not that bad.
Don't get me wrong. Okay. I am
Mhm.
still of the belief that even J.J. Abrams got screwed on the Star Wars deal because Aunt Kathy wanted to have her way. So even Jar Jar can at least, point to the fact that Aunt Kathy really screwed up on that one.
Mhm.
But and the only other positive thing I can say is that at least his version of Star Trek at least attempted to somehow be entertaining and fun, albeit a little mindless, and ultimately not really adhering to anything on purpose, though, because that's part of the story, not really adhering to any of the established canon for the characters originally. But again, there's people that give him a hard time about it. I don't, because that's part of the plot of the movie. It's
Mhm.
not supposed to be the same. It's meant to be different. Because if it were the same, you're missing a lot of characters in Starfleet Academy. And Kirk is nothing like what he was at the Academy, according to Gene Roddenberry and the original writing staff of the show.
Well, I mean, and when you look at Kirk, he was really a nerd.
Yeah, he was a nerd.
And most people miss that. Most adaptations of that miss that.
But do you know who he learned the womanizing from?
His roommate.
Ta-da! Somebody's been paying attention. Can you at least name his roommate, Martin?
Well, the two of them. Oh my God. My memory leaves me. The guy who got godlike powers.
Gary,
yes.
Gary Mitchell.
Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, I had the first name. I was like, Gary
Mitchell,
not Seven, but
well, see, we're going to get into this on the show. We can get into it right now. I mean, we have several news stories to get to.
Leave that as a dessert.
As a dessert?
Yeah. Let's get the thing with Morrison and Lindelof out of the way. Then,
okay.
Oh my God, you really broke me last night. I was already my net value was at 0 because I was feeling under the weather since last night. But man, when first when well go I'll come in at its right time, because if
okay.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay. Well, thank you for the setup. This conversation really is a part of the overall discussion that the main topic for today, which is, we're going to, thank you, Gambit. No, Kurtzman doesn't own Star Trek. But that contract he had been operating on or under and with, due to being hired by CBS, gave him all of the rights just short of owning Star Trek. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Whoever his agent is, whoever negotiated that contract, I want them to represent me. Because he had so many little traps and so many little caveats that it made it impossible, even for someone with a lot of money, the former owners of all of this, to be able to get out of that contract and fire him. He made it next to impossible to be let go. There is a way to let him go. Seriously, they could have let him go, but he would have walked out of there with several hundreds of millions of dollars. Like I said, whoever did that, whoever his agent was, I want them representing me. I would love to be able to be hired for something and then cost the company several hundreds of millions of dollars if they decide to let me go.
No, I'm not that impressed by the lawyer because you can ask for the moon. What I'm impressed is who was the idiot who signed that on behalf of the company.
Oh, the idiot? You mean the one that eventually got let go anyway, and who?
Miss Moonves. Okay, but
Miss Moonves, yeah, Mister Me Too, because he got Me Too'd out of his job, but basically he didn't care because he hated Star Trek. That's the main reason. I mean, that really is the diabolical underneath reason for all of this.
yeah, that's the perfect storm. He saw that horrendous contract and said, "Yeah, this is my revenge."
Yeah. That's exactly how he thought. He was going to stick it to all the Star Trek fans because he took a lot of heat for seemingly going back on his word with Enterprise. He had promised the producers and the stars and the fans when he was given control over CW that he would allow Enterprise to remain on the air if they got the ratings up, because the ratings have been falling. They weren't exactly Star Trek Discovery bad or Batwoman bad, but for him, he said the ratings were bad and they needed to get the ratings up. And when they did that, he went ahead and basically just went back on his word and canceled the entire show. That's where that comes from. And so Star Trek fans basically got online and flooded really everything with how they felt about him. And I don't think he liked it. Too bad. So sad. You shouldn't have gone back on your word. You know, you never make a... If you want to cancel something, he had the power to cancel it. He should have never have tried to basically get around it by saying, oh, yeah, if the ratings go up, wink, wink, yeah, I'll go ahead and renew the show. Yeah, he had no intention of renewing the show. He was going to cancel it anyway. So, anyway, to get back on track with this, we're getting into what I would like to call the ethics of adaptation, you know, the catalyst of which is the Lanterns controversy. We're going to dissect the recent exchange that set Substack and Instagram on fire with the quote-unquote stupid comment, Damon Lindelof's comment from, I think it was about a year ago, 2 years ago, on the Love It or Leave It portion of a particular podcast. Basically about the word green being stupid for the new Lanterns title. And then Grant Morrison's rebuttal.
So for context, when he made that comment, how long ago was that?
I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. I think it was a year ago.
Okay.
And the idea is Lindelof is saying that it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't find the massive... There was a part of Grant Morrison's takedown of the whole thing is he even addressed that.
Mm-hmm.
And had a thing to say about how even as the joke, it was in poor taste, you know, because you don't take a job and then start acting like, you know, you're above it all. And you make a joke like that. I mean, there's you're about to take on something And supposedly the story that Lindelof is trying to spin is that he's always been a Green Lantern fan. Whether he's been a Green Lantern fan in the past or not, whether he grew up with the character or not, you don't come into this knowing that you're dealing with a character that to the general public has a little bit of a black eye because of a previous movie version. That helped along by two people who supposedly were fans themselves. And, getting what you got with that film. Which, to be fair, even though Ryan Reynolds likes to make fun of it, I think the general consensus amongst comic book fans is that the movie, once the main character gets the ring and leaves Earth, all of that all those scenes connected to Oa and his training and all, people love that. Fans love that. They really, really thought that was going to be the rest of the movie. And then for some reason they went back to Earth and the movie turned to bad.
And when Ryan makes fun of it, he's making fun of the movie itself, not the franchise.
Yeah. He's making fun of the movie itself. It was a bad idea to not try to stick with the stuff that works. Okay.
Right.
It's kind of like go ahead.
He only makes fun of like the bad CGI on the costume and shit like that. Yeah.
And again, I'm not sitting here saying the CGI was the best.
Right.
But that was the majority of all the scenes from Oa. And that's what people liked. I think he's trying to say something without, getting on the wrong side of certain people.
Yeah.
All of the Earth stuff sucks. If there had been a way to cut out all of that and extend all of the space stuff, Green Lantern probably would have made $300 million or more at the box office. It's the same situation that you had with the movie Bumblebee, where you have that 5-minute beginning that blew every Transformers fan away. Even I'm sitting in the theater going, whoa, what's this? It got my attention. And then credits. And then the movie begins. And look. Bumblebee was a good movie. But if they had taken that 5 minutes at the beginning and added another 30, 35 minutes to that, that would have been the best Transformers movie ever made. Full stop. That's it. I mean, that's what every Transformers fan wanted, was what you saw at the very beginning of Bumblebee. That was better than every single Transformers film ever made. And that's what fans wanted. And Bumblebee teased everybody. That was like an ultimate tease there. It gave you 5 minutes of bliss. And so you had to just sit there and sit through the rest of the movie. And again, the movie's not bad at all. It's actually very entertaining. But with that 5 minutes, wow. Ooh. Even talking about it, I almost need a cigarette. But I just think that that is a sign of what we're dealing with. As far as how how really Hollywood has treated really comics and pop culture related materials in general. It's very case by case, and it's never really consistent. Okay? Sometimes you get the feeling of a particular character correct. Donner's Superman. Even though Donner made some mistakes. Superman 2 has a few mistakes in it. Again, something that Gary and I got a good laugh out of is the whole teleportation thing, which when you really think about it, that's a big mistake, because why would he need to fly if he could teleport? You know, that is one of my favorite all-time, right there in your face mistakes for a movie that is good. At least the Donner version is really good. But it's a mistake. They should have just cut that out. It never should have been in the movie. You know, then you have movies that are just a bit of a head scratch. You know, a good example of that is the movie Steel. You know, what they were able to do with that character in Superman and Lois, that was fantastic. That's one of the things I loved about that show. I don't like how they introduced the character, but I like what they did with the character. If they had done that in the movie, that would have been fantastic. Instead, we got another version of what I like to call Hollywood's treatment of strong, intelligent black characters that they kind of broke a little bit with how they treated Mr. Terrific 2.0 in James Gunn's Superman. Then again, we haven't really done a full background on Mr. Terrific 2.0, so we don't know if they're going to make some of the same changes like they did with a few other characters in the movie Steel, in the television series Mantis versus the original pilot film, and most definitely and most recently in Greg Berlanti's Black Lightning, where in all three cases you had a character of color, a black man, who came up with an idea. In the original comic, they came up with an idea. They were responsible for everything they did. Oh, and I'm also going to put the static cartoon in this too. In the comics, they were responsible for all of it. Yet when it came time to do the Hollywood version, they have to stick in a character that either didn't exist or existed in a different way to make them the one that actually came up with all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, because it was always a white guy.
Or girl. In the case of Steel, and the thing is, Steel kind of ripped off Mantis.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the original Mantis pilot, he's actually the person that created all of it. Okay? You had a guy who created the whole thing. And he was also the hero. When it came time to turn it into a television series, mysteriously, actor Roger, man, I can't believe I forgot his last name, Roger something, because he'd been on Cheers and on The West Wing. Turns out he's the creator. And they did the same thing in Black Lightning. Anybody that ever read the Black Lightning comics knows that Black Lightning came up with all of it. Now, in the Black Lightning television series, which is supposed to be centered on him and his family, and we're going to do this upright, and mysteriously, you got a mysterious white character who comes out of nowhere, who's not even in the comics, is actually the one responsible. Oh, he created the suit, and he created this, and he taught him how to use the spot. What is this? What is this? You know, I kind of gave the show a chance, but when they revealed that, I stopped watching the show. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, no. And there's an element of that, unfortunately, with Lanterns. I know it's not out yet, but there's an element of that with the way they're doing Lanterns by having Hal Jordan be the one that actually trains Jon Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Which is completely different from how his origin is in the comics. You know, there was some person online that tried to argue with me that you can't really tell anything from the trailer for the show. And my response was, Hal would never sit around in anger or even jokingly try to act like he hated all the rest of the Lanterns and especially the Squirrel. He never would have made that comment.
Yeah.
You know, he's in awe of what being a lantern is. You know, he enjoys it. He enjoys it. He just loves it. He has a genuine, pure love of being a lantern. Granted, though, the other half of that was probably they needed to fulfill the whole older, grizzled, burned
Burnt
out
out.
character,
Yeah.
which we've seen with Indiana Jones and in Star Wars, that this whole trope where you got to take a character and alter them so much. And the unfortunate thing for Lanterns is, as I keep saying, Hal Jordan is the same age as Bruce Wayne. He's the same age as Kal-El. He's the same age as Oliver Queen. I mean, that's the part that I think probably triggered the person that was arguing with me online when I made that point. He's the same age. I think he's only a year or 2 years older than John. Now, I did say in this exchange that if it turns out, since this Lanterns TV series is actually set in the past, that's the other thing. It's actually set in the past. If it turns out that he's got a parasite inside him, well, then that makes sense. I said I would take it all back. If they dug so deep into this where you have Hal is suffering from having a parasite and that it's aged him like 20 years. I could buy that. It's like, okay, that's following the comics. Everything else is just BS. You know, having Hal never trained John. That's not the way that works. And then this whole thing about, oh, I don't even have my ring yet. Wait a minute. Why don't you have a ring? That's
Well, why are you training him without a ring?
Yeah.
What are you training him in?
I mean, originally, John, when it came time, got Hal's ring. When Hal gave up being a Green Lantern, John got the ring. But his training was provided by Katma 2.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets assigned someone to train them when you join the Green Lanterns. Everybody just sort of assumes, because you can always tell who the more recent fans are when they say that it's Kilowog training everybody. No, that's within the last 15 to 20 years. Prior to that, you got assigned somebody. You know, they treated it like technically like being a cop. If you've ever seen the show The Rookie or any show like that, that's exactly how you do it. You choose somebody who's a quote unquote veteran and you get partnered up with them and you go out on patrol and they teach you things. And during the course of that, you get taught everything you need to know. That's how that works. Okay. Well, John's partner is also important for the future of his story because there is a story there. John has this incredible legacy in history. And by not following that, you're altering the course of that story. You know, John Stewart's, everybody's got a villain that they, you know, their main counterpart, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird with Green Lantern because I don't think Hal really thinks of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to ask him, I think in his mind, it's his ex-girlfriend who eventually got her own ring and became a villain. Now, a lot of people kind of thought, oh, it's Sinestro. Maybe. If you ask Sinestro, it is. Because Sinestro hates the fact that, first of all, he hates the fact that humans are allowed in. But also because Hal got the ring from Abin Sur. Abin Sur was best friends with Sinestro. They were tight. And in Sinestro's mind, Hal doesn't even really measure up at all. He'll never measure up to Abin Sur. And so from the moment that he joined, he was always looking down his nose at Hal Jordan. But to Jon Stewart, his main villain, his number one nemesis is Sinestro. And Katma 2 is one of Sinestro's race.
Which she comes in having to basically
carry on. Yeah, carry on, because Sinestro left. He quit, basically.
Right.
And so it was incumbent upon her getting the ring to replace him and to wipe away the stain of what he had done in betraying the Green Lantern Corps.
Right.
And turns out that John and she were a really good team. They were a great team together. They knew how to take on the odds and beat the odds and incredible stuff. And eventually, it turns out they fell in love and got married. Seemingly, that's not going to be the case for this TV show. Mainly because of the casting. They had to cast somebody to be Hal Jordan's mom. And given the age of the lady who they've cast, it looks like it's going to be an even further flashback. And then they had to cast another character in here. The sheriff character is going to be Jon Stewart's kind of sort of girlfriend for this story. So they've made changes. I went all the way around to say, yes, they have made changes, you know. But it really is difficult to get past a lot of this stuff. Here we go. Yeah, part of what Grant Morrison had to write. Green Lanterns is a much more evocative and dramatic title than Lanterns. Just as Raise the Red Lantern is a better movie title than... Hold on. Wait. Yeah, well, basically he's putting a beat down on what Lindelof said, you know. I just think that it really says something when you want to make a joke like that. People who have done stuff like that usually end up creating something that the fan base doesn't like, because it's this exact same attitude that was observed when they were putting out the Netflix updated He-Man cartoon. I'm sorry, Masters of the Universe cartoon. That everybody connected with it were just having way too much fun poking fun at the original series. And you always get those, oh, you gotta learn to take a joke. Oh, you gotta learn to, you know, if James Gunn had come at this the way that a lot of the people behind Masters of the Universe had done it, and had started making cracking jokes about Christopher Reeve and the whole Superman production, do you think that would have went down well? Anybody?
Crickets. No.
No.
Yeah, it would not have gone well. I mean, you could have said, like a lot of these dimwits have said, oh, it's just a joke. You gotta learn to take a joke. It's like, no, sometimes you got to learn to read the room. You've already got brand damage for this IP due to a movie that a lot of people didn't go to see. And you're making a lot out of having Damon Lindelof as a part of this project after what he had done with Watchmen. Which, again, I know there's a lot of people out there that like what he did. And to tell you the truth, there were some things that he did that I liked. But that whole thing about it being a sequel to the comic book made what he did even worse.
Oh, you're referring to the show.
Yeah, the show. No. The Watchmen show, the miniseries, that's supposed to be a sequel to the comic book storyline and not the movie.
And it's horrible.
I didn't think it was horrible. He had some good things. The original main story that they started with was good. I saw nothing wrong with any of that. And the way that they treated some of the other characters, the 2/3 of that is really well done. Okay, but it's the final third. The stuff with Dr. Manhattan is some of the dumbest stuff I have ever seen in my life. Ever. Starting with, so let me get this straight. In the comic, it's revealed that he's losing his humanity. He is evolving. Okay? He is losing touch with his humanity and with the ability to be able to identify what the average person's going through. He left because he was evolving beyond us. And Damon Lindelof said, you know what? What if he came back? Because he fell in love with this woman.
Which goes against the entire premise of him leaving.
Yes. They did it so they could have a black actor be Dr. Manhattan. So that when you criticize that, it was like, oh, you don't want black actors. It's not that at all. You could have chosen anybody to be it, and you did. It's just that the actual premise the story you decided to tell to get Dr. Manhattan into the story was dumb. It was stupid. That's it. That ruined everything. First of all, Dr. Manhattan is the character. Okay? You messed up. You never should have had Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen miniseries. You could have chosen any other character. You could have gone through anything and done anything.
Well, I mean, when you look at the focus of that series, what does Dr. Manhattan have to do with it?
That's the thing. They wanted Dr. Manhattan in it because they wanted to prove, they wanted to show you Yahya Abdul-Mateen. First of all, they wanted him to be the new Dr. Manhattan because they wanted the opportunity to change the character within the DC universe. And when the show failed, and it did fail because it didn't get a season 2.
But they always planned it was going to be a one season. That's what they told me. So
that is what they ended up saying. David Lindelof, I have to give him credit for being the king of the turning on the heel really quick to come up with an explanation, even though it doesn't match a lot of the stuff going into it, and especially the story they were telling. That show ended with a lot of questions. You don't go into a project like this and you leave a lot of questions.
Yeah,
there's a mountain of questions.
The first question was, "What the hell?" And the second question was, "Why?"
That's it. But they left a lot of characters hanging, including the main character.
Wait. Look who's here.
Hey! Look, man, I've told you before, Yahya Abdul-Mateen should have been T'Challa. He could have been a fantastic replacement
Yep.
in the MCU. Look, I've seen more of him than I've ever wanted to see of any actor. If you watch Watchmen, and it's just like, oh, geez, dude. You know, he instead they get him into the MCU, and what do? They make him Wonder Man. Because again, what better way? Because Yahya, he can't be trusted to be the new Luke Cage, and he can't be trusted to be Black Panther. Hey, you got a white character you're not really using very much? Because we got a black actor here who's only good when he replaces and race swaps characters that are in comics. That's what they reduced him to be. You know, which is unfortunate because I think he's a very good actor. And there are a lot of characters he could portray. He could have been Icon. He himself could have been Jon Stewart. You know, although I think Aaron Pierre is either Canadian or British. Yeah, he could have been Jon Stewart. Yeah, he could have been Blade too. He could have been. See, and that's the other thing. What is going on with Blade at the MCU? Why can't they make a Blade movie? I'm serious. This is getting beyond comedic. It's getting into sad. Is really where it's getting. It's just getting sad. I mean, again, though, on behalf of the entire production, let me just take it upon myself to at least thank the MCU and Kevin Feige, because without their ineptitude, we never would have gotten Sinners. Yeah, I know. I know exactly what you're saying, G. He could have saved it. Of course, given who was working at the Marvel Studios at the time, they probably would have screwed that up too. Because what I'm talking about is having him be T'Challa. Remember, all you kids out there, even the ones that think they know Black Panther, you got to remember, T'Challa isn't just the king of Wakanda and the Black Panther. One of his side powers as the Black Panther, he's the king of the dead. Yahya could have portrayed T'Challa in the land of the dead and came back. It's that no alternative, no alternate universe version of this, no robot version, none of that. You had an actor ready to go, and you chose on purpose not to use him like that. That's fine.
You don't even have to do that with the realm of the dead. Nothing. Just recast. They recasted Rhodey, and nobody gave a shit.
That's right. But the King of the Dead thing, that is a part of his. That's part of what he is. That's one of his things. It's part of the comics. That's not even a new thing. That's been around for a while. Long while. It's one of the things that if you got into reading Black Panther comics, you discover about him. I mean, he's good looking. He's rich. He's a ruler. Oh, and he's also the king of the dead. He can come back. You know, which in my opinion should have made him someone that should have been of interest to a certain glove-wearing person who, if they had written him the way he was in comics, would have approached him about this whole death thing. So, you know your comics, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, you're right, G. They are overthinking the entire Blade IP. They're making it much more difficult than it needs to be. But, again, how many years we going on now? What, almost 10? 10? 10 years to make one Blade movie? 10 years. Wow. Wow. That's whoever's in charge of that has got themselves a really nice job there. Developing a Blade movie that they never really have to do anything with. They can just keep, quote unquote, working on it. But at this rate, you're going to lose your lead actor. I mean, at this rate, by the time you do anything from here on out, by the time you do anything with a Blade movie, Mahershala Ali will already be older. Well, the oldest person to have ever played Blade. And unfortunately, I'm thinking that maybe there's a few people with Marvel Studios that are aiming for that. Because they're going to do to Blade what they're doing to Hal Jordan with Lanterns. That's the real reason why we've had a delay. They have a younger character in mind who they want to push forward. And they want to use Blade to push forward another character. That's why it's taken so long. Yeah, read by nature. It's about 20 years. We've reached sad. I've said that before. This is sad. I mean, we passed pathetic long ago with this. This is just sad. It really shouldn't be that difficult to make a Blade movie. And in the time that it's taken them to get to this point, you could have found a way of introducing a character or the character that they want to replace Blade with in a story that would have allowed you to see the character's development over time. But certain people currently with Marvel don't want to show this character being in a subordinate role. They don't want you to see this character being anything less than perfect and better than Blade. So it's made writing the script difficult. Thus, the reason why they haven't found a script that they like, quote unquote. Yeah. Okay. Real Popcorn Geek asked Keith, got any speculations as to who Keith David's playing in the new Spider-Man based off the trailer dialogue? I think he's playing the head of Damage Control, which is a group that they've already introduced within the Spider-Man films, ironically, because I don't think they've appeared in any other MCU film. But Spider-Man Homecoming is where they were introduced. They're part of the major part of the plot there as far as pushing it forward. Let's see. Read by Nature. When originally cast, he was only about 10 years older. Yes, he was. I mean, Mahershala Ali is a really good actor. I think he and his agent, and Mahershala Ali has every reason to be ticked off. Now, G asks, do you think that other character is going to be the whole Blade daughter thing? Oh, as far as Blade? No. That has been revealed as the reason why they're making a Blade movie. Because they haven't figured out that there would be any other reason to make a Blade movie. They're using it as a way to introduce Blade's daughter so they can have her replace him and they can push this whole thing forward. It's the same reason why Sony spent so many years arguing with Sam Raimi and other directors eventually, why they never introduced Vulture in any of the movies that they had any of the movies that they were making themselves prior to the MCU and the Tom Holland films, because Sony wanted to. They thought that Vulture was too old, so they were wanting to make Vulture a woman, and then they tried to put forth the idea that they wanted Vulture to have a daughter, and that Spider-Man would kill Vulture so that the daughter would feel obligated to go after Spider-Man. I know, sucks, right? That's the thinking of these people. And it gets us to, again, what the main thing is with Hollywood and making changes. You know, some projects definitely need your help. Maybe the source material isn't as strong. There's not enough there for them to grab onto. Although with other IP, there's a lot of source material, in which case, when there are changes, it's because the people doing it are just too, in my opinion, lazy. They don't want to deal with all the baggage that the IP comes with. So they make changes. They streamline a few things because they think it's too convoluted. And so they say things like, well, we want to make it easier for new people to come in. That's Hollywood speak for, I didn't do all the research, so I'm going to make stuff up so I can make it easier for me. Ironically, that is all of Kurtzman's track. That really is all of Kurtzman's track. Because they didn't do all the research. They even admitted to it. When they had, when they did their Star Trek camp, preparing for Discovery, they didn't watch all 79 episodes of Star Trek. They picked about 10. They cherry-picked 10 episodes. And that was it. 10 episodes out of 79. And you're supposed to be working on a new Star Trek series, which they eventually got around to saying, it's now a prequel. Well, that came about because of the press release that they had. It wasn't conceived as a prequel. It was just conceived as a Star Trek show. The assumption was it was meant to originally either be around the time of the Next Generation, meaning post a lot of the events, post Nemesis and all that. But as they started in with a lot of the test audiences, they just thought it best to just do something different. So they used the press release prior to the release of the show to just say that it's set a few years before the original series. There you go.
Guys, I
Yeah.
need to see something. I'll be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we'll be here.
We're not going anywhere.
So that's where that is. So again, there are instances where sometimes when you want to create something or do something new, that's fine. You know, you can make changes. I've never argued that you couldn't. You got a lot of people making bad faith arguments saying that people who want to stick a little closer to the source material are wanting like exact translations, which is not just a lie. You know, it's a complete misrepresentation of what we're talking about. You know, Richard Donner's Superman is still a great Superman movie. It may not get all of the particulars of what the comics are, but it is a great Superman movie because it got the heart right. You know, I have always said that if you could adapt something, the closest you could ever get away with being to the source material is going 75-25. Nothing more than that. because once you get beyond that, you make it next to impossible for any writer to write. You've tied their hands too much. That's the limit, is 75-25, which is 75% source material and 25% whatever else you want to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect balance would be less than that. Certainly not 50-50. 50-50 gets you, it may seem like 50-50 is the perfect balance. It's not. Even Richard Donner's Superman's not 50-50. It's probably 60-40, I think. That's the way I think of, no, I'd say Richard Donner's Superman is probably 55. 55-45.
So, because what we look at here is also how heroes change, how IPs change.
Yes. If you choose something that has a long enough history to it, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there are changes.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of Green Lantern,
Mm-hmm.
this is one of those instances where you can tell the difference between somebody who's actually done the work and somebody that hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
For Damon Lindelof, to say that it's his favorite character,
Mm-hmm.
why then would you choose an actor that is way older than the actual character?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard some people are, well, he was older in the comics. Oh, I see. So you have
Mm-hmm.
a character that starts out being the same age as a bunch of the heroes that he's with, but mysteriously you've decided or decreed that this character has to be older now. And nobody else ages up that extreme. Let me put it to you this way. Given what they've done with Lanterns, this show would fit with the Snyderverse in that respect. It would fit with the Snyderverse easily.
Right. Well, see,
Because-
and the whole premise, though, of Lanterns fits more with hard traveling heroes.
Yeah. Somebody had argued, why didn't they, instead of having Jon Stewart, why could have made it Oliver Queen?
Right.
It could have been, Hal Jordan, Oliver Queen, and you just do that.
Right.
But again, Warner Brothers has been trying to introduce Jon Stewart for quite a while. Even Zack Snyder had Jon Stewart originally that was meant to be in Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait a minute. Read by Nature. He says Keith could be a good Robbie Robertson, which would
Keith
make the
David?
narration make sense. But people
Mhm.
think the other guy in the suit sitting at the desk is Rob. Yeah, I mean, first of all, it'd be the first time the character has appeared in the MCU. Robbie has been absent
Mm-hmm.
since Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. So he very well could be. That'd make me happy if he were. Because Robbie's a good character. And again, there's no reason to be doing a lot of race swapping if these characters of color already exist within what you're trying to do.
Right.
Let's see. Brand New Day. Real Popcorn Geek says, Brand New Day trailer is giving off some serious Man Spider vibes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
They're swinging for the fences. Let's see. James says that's like admitting you didn't study for a test. Aha. It's quite a few of them don't read the source material. Seriously, they don't. That's part of the reason why the movie The Batman doesn't work for me. You have a director trying to gaslight people into thinking, yeah, I'm a long-time Batman fan. This will be the first one that has ever allowed the character to be more like he is in the comics by being a detective. Well, he's not just a detective. And some of the stuff that you're referencing, while it does have detective work in there, you're wanting to use certain characters that within the bounds of the stories that you say you're getting them from, those characters play almost no part.
And I'm sorry, going all the way back to the 1989 Batman, we see Batman as a detective.
Not according to certain people, both within the industry and even certain fans who will argue with you until they're like blue-haired in the face. That that's no, it's not like that at all. Oh, it's got to be the first time. It's the first time. It's like, yeah, they drank the Kool-Aid for that movie so deeply that they just, whatever problem you have with that movie. Well, you got to understand, he's just starting. It's only the year 2. He's new at it. It's like, lots of copium for you, right? So, let's see. Connie is here. No wonder. Hello, Connie. Connie Cleary. Real popcorn geek. I don't blank Robbie would work for the MC. Oh, he doesn't think Robbie would work for the MCU version of Jameson. Well, Jameson's in it. Okay, he is a character. He may not be doing what he was doing before, but he's in it. I think it would be appropriate to have it like Jameson started this podcast because he had been let go from the newspaper and Robbie took his place. I see nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Power Ranger Donnie. He says, good morning, Keith, Ben, and all. Hope everyone is well despite Comcast, NBC Universal exiting the first-run syndication business. Yeah, that's most unfortunate for them. And Connie says hello back. It's nice to have all of you here. I think the other thing about adapting, Hollywood has also been very selective about what they treat seriously and what they don't. And that has been my biggest problem. For instance, for all of you out there who are still arguing that Lanterns could be this incredible thing, you're not giving it a chance. Like people who say they're Star Trek fans and keep arguing that everything K-Trek nowadays is just good. We're not giving it a chance. You notice when the producers and everyone at Warner Brothers was adapting Harry Potter, if they had pulled even half the stuff they had done with Lanterns or Star Trek or Star Wars, you know the reason why they didn't? Can you guess as to the reason why nobody decided to go off and either race swap characters or try something, make story changes? You know the reason why. Because the fans of the books would have hung every single person connected to that production out to dry. Warner Brothers, rightly so, was very, very afraid of the fans. I'm not saying you got to be afraid of the fans to just do right by them. but everybody is selective in how they want to do things. And considering that Warner Brothers had had won the opportunity to adapt these books, they just pretty much did it right the first time. Now, you have a very limited amount of time making movies. So, unfortunately, there was a lot of fans still got mad because there was a lot of the story. There were plot points and characters that were left out of the movies, which is the reason why Warner Brothers is making the television show. I mean, there was enough stuff left out. Well, not enough. I mean, there was a lot of stuff left out. You could easily get by with a TV series. My only thing about the TV series is, will you be able to get through production quick enough once these kids start hitting puberty? That's my only thing. That's really what I'm going to grab the popcorn and just, wait to see, because look at what happened with the cast of Stranger Things and how much they changed in just a short amount of time. That's the trick. Will we be able to see them get through everything they need to get through before any of the kids in this cast turn 30? I'm serious. I mean, we've seen how a lot of streaming series and stuff goes, and sometimes you run into some problems, and next thing you know, it's, oh, you have to wait 2 years for the next season. It's like, that's not good. I mean, you're making a show with kids,
Right.
and you're going to wait 2 years. So you got this kid, and you end with Harry Potter at the end of the first adventure, at the end of the first book. Next time you see him, he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. That's not good. You're gonna have to be quick. I feel for the people behind this production, because you really are gonna have to be quick.
Yeah, you don't want your main characters going from golly gee Willie, golly gee Wally to dang Wally. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean
Are we ever going to have sex before we finish high school? Every John Hughes film ever.
I mean, you've got people who you're going to have to use some of those Lord of the Rings filming techniques to film them still as kids, even though one person's gone through a major growth spurt, and now they're well over 6 feet.
Right. So every shot has to be from above.
I'm not saying I doubt they can accomplish this. I'm just saying, whatever you got planned, Warner Brothers, you better get on it. I know you've already cast the kids. You got to get on it now. It's almost to the point where it would really help them to just go ahead and film the first 2 seasons back to back.
Mm-hmm. So Power Ranger Donnie, right there with you with the One Piece live action.
Yes.
I went through that in a couple of days, which is good for me. I usually don't like binging so much, except for things like One Punch and now One Punch Man and now One Piece. Evidently, I have evidently I have a type when it comes to my binging. Anything with one in the title.
Yeah.
Speaking of, oh God, what Hollywood does to things. Okay, I don't know how people are on Buffy and the attempted reboot, but evidently the Buffy, pickup got shot down by one executive.
That's the story. No,
Yeah.
no. That's the story that's being floated out there. Okay.
So what's the then do enlighten us if you have the real truth there, Keith.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody knows who I'm talking about when I talk about my other twin brother.
Mhm.
So for those that don't know, I refer to writer, producer, and podcast extraordinaire Robert Meyer Burnett is my other twin brother, and supposedly he came out and he had gotten a hold of the script.
Mhm.
And I think on X he decided to take some dialogue and he reposted it from X. He didn't post the script. He reposted some dialogue. Rough. Turns out the entire script was not good. Somebody leaked the entire script, and the script was bad. It was bad. The other thing was that the director, Zhao, who had directed Eternals, she was trying to negotiate where she was going to be the one to direct every single episode. And that was also a no-go. The powers that be at Hulu didn't want to do that.
And here's the thing, though. The script was, they were still trying to rewrite it.
No, they handed in what they thought it was. Script was bad, dude. It was bad. Mm-hmm. And again, I just thought, I know the two women, I found out the women who wrote it are not young girls. They're women. They've had a nice.
So what was the criticism of the script?
The bad dialogue. It was just a
was
bad script.
Young.
No. It was bad. It was just bad. Mm-hmm. It was awful.
And one of the criticism was that it was too young. That it played too young.
I didn't get that. I just got the fact the script was awful. That they were trying to help them make changes and kept getting resistance. As if, well, we've done this and this is as good as it can get. You got to understand, at least from Hulu's point of view, you shouldn't just put something on to put something on. You want to help them get to, not everybody's operating against you.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I kind of agree with Hulu. You need to get there. You have a lot going on with this. Number one, you need to meet a certain standard, a certain level set by the original series. If you cannot meet that, then you're either going to have to agree to bring somebody else in to rewrite you, or we're not going to move forward with this. Period. Now, there are some who have argued, well, maybe they should get Joss Whedon since that's how he started, a script doctor. You don't have to get Joss Whedon, but you need to get somebody that knows what the blank they're doing to get this up to snuff. And Hulu gave them, from what I've heard, Hulu gave them every opportunity to make the appropriate changes. And they decided to basically plant their feet and say, this is it. And Hulu just said, okay. Now, you can have all the plans you want about the future and how you want to do things once you're allowed to get the green light to go through this. This entire pilot had nothing to do with any of the things that they had been discussing. That's the other disappointing thing for me. They have done things.
So
like
let me back up.
Yeah.
What would it take for you to say it was a good pilot?
A better script. First of all, your script is everything. If your script is not good, I don't believe in wasting time on anything else. Right. Okay.
Well,
on top of that, they have gone through all of this stuff about, well, okay, we got Allison Hannigan on board. You know, we're going out and getting all these other actors. You know, okay, that's great. And then you read the script and you realize Buffy doesn't even show up until the last minute and a half of the episode.
Okay.
So you have a script that's not that well done, filled with characters who you don't even know. Remember, this is the pilot. And the one person for whose name is above everything else in the title, and you don't even see them until near the end.
Right, because
what I heard is Sarah said that wasn't the real script.
It better not be. It better not be, because if it turns out that is, they got some problems.
Now, she was the one pushing for that reboot. I don't think she's gonna push for a reboot in which she's gonna be sidelined.
Well, I think the understanding was it wasn't. If she were just going to be in it, that'd be one thing. But since she was going to be one of the producers, I think she would have held off and gotten herself to become more prominent in the future episodes. Okay? Look, I hope for the sake of everybody involved that the script that has been put out there as the real script isn't. Because if it is, whoo, that is rough. I can think of just a lot of women who wrote in the writer's room who they could have brought in to rewrite this. Remember, it's just the original people who sold all of this to Sarah Michelle Gellar are all the people who have worked on the pilot script itself. So none of the writers from the original series, not even Joss Whedon himself, have worked on this. It's just them two. Okay? And again, I said it last week. I've been saying it since the news broke that Fox had sold everything to Disney. I find it kind of odd that Disney decided that they've been acting like they don't own Buffy. I mean, you own Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Why aren't you guys doing something with it? I mean, they got rid of Hotel of Terror. They could have just brought that back and called it Buffy's Hotel of Terror. They could have done. Look, Universal is eating their lunch right now. And Universal Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights, which have become so popular and so famous in California, and I guarantee they're if they haven't already done it in Florida, they will be. You need something to compete. Buffy is the perfect character to do that, and the very fact that you haven't speaks volumes. Look, I know this is a time of great change for Disney. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of balls in the air. I know that Aunt Kathy leaving is sad for 0.1% of everybody connected. And I know that Uncle Bob leaving affects another 0.1% of the people connected. But you guys need to shake this off. This is a business. You guys need to be working right now. Everything important especially when you get towards the end of the year. You need to be working on that right now. And nobody seemingly has taken any of this stuff seriously enough to the point where, I get it. There's a lot to do. But if you're Disney, why the blank are you just like sloughing right now? Seriously sloughing. First of all, why do you have people from outside of everything coming to you wanting to make a Buffy pilot? This should have been developed inside easily. Are you saying there is nobody connected to Disney? Absolutely nobody connected to Disney want to do anything with Buffy. Are you kidding me?
Well, and even one of the executives, Craig Erwich, is not only not a fan of this, not only not a fan, he hasn't even seen all of it. And he was the guy in charge of it. And it was, at the end of the day, it was his decision.
I'm telling you, I just think it's kind of odd. To me, laying it off on one person is very convenient because it doesn't explain why everything else has been a particular way, why everything else is being done. How do you have projects, the same kind of projects that have been put forth by other people in other divisions of Disney, and yet when it comes to Buffy, you got nothing?
Right.
You're doing everything possible to promote a certain type of way, a thing forward. You've got people working on it. You're spending a lot of money. And yet, we're going to let Buffy twist in the wind for a while. Is that what we're saying is happening? Because if that's the case, you got some bargain basement dumb butts working at Disney. I can understand why things aren't working very well. There are more. Look, it has been proven that writers of a certain age are fans of this character. A lot of them seemingly are working on Kurtzman track, but they're not the only ones. A lot of them seem to be working at Pixar and at Lucasfilm. Are you telling me you can't get any of the writers between the ages of 21 and 35 to work on this? You couldn't find anybody else to do this prior to this being presented to them with Sarah Michelle Gellar attached. That's what I'm saying. It really is ponderous. Because I've heard from a lot of writers. I've seen this online. There are a lot of Buffy fans out there. And a lot of them are quote-unquote writers right now. I mean, they're currently in the business. And with the way that Disney's gone to bat for several projects, I can't think of a reason why Buffy hadn't been picked up before now. That seems to be the one thing that seems to be some sort of a mysterious fog over as to the reason why that is. And it shouldn't be. This is, the only thing I could think that would ward people off is if they think that they can't do a better job. The writing was just so good that they're almost afraid. And let me tell you, anybody under the age of 35 that's currently in Hollywood writing right now, that's not a fear they have. That's not a fear they have. Given the way that they've attacked certain things and gone after certain things, that is not a fear. There's another reason why all of this is just, and to be also to be completely fair about this, Hulu hasn't given up on it. I think they're wanting another creative team to take a shot at this. That's what I've heard.
They're wanting another creative team to take a shot at Buffy.
Yes. I keep saying that script was awful. Now, it may not be the one that's currently being passed around, but Disney wants another creative team.
Do they really, though?
Yes.
I mean, if as you say, they are having to be forced to make it, do they want to make it?
Not necessarily force, but it's like they didn't exactly, I mean, again, when Fox became the property of Disney and they started going through and picking out all the stuff that they could do with it, immediately you started hearing about, Predator movie, Aliens movie. We've already gotten 2 Predator projects in so many years. 2. You've got an Alien television series. Season 2 is in production or soon will be. And you're trying to tell me that nobody said anything about Buffy the Vampire Slayer when you're going through and listing everything that Fox had, and there is absolutely nobody, even though they did pick out Alien and Predator. Oh, 3 Predator projects. That makes it even worse. Again, that's what I'm trying to communicate here. What is it about Buffy that is just like, well, why did you have to wait for somebody to come in from outside to pitch you to do this? Given some of the people who've been working for Disney for years, who over the last 2 years, a lot of those people have left Disney. But in the years prior to that, nobody was saying anything at all. That's the thing about all of this. That's weird to me. Really weird. You have a company that's been trying to create a balance in entertainment, give women and young girls something to look forward to, and absolutely nobody said anything about Buffy. Just say it. That's weird. And in my opinion, incredibly stupid on their part. You do this right, you created another revenue stream. And you talk about something to where you could talk about a lot of social issues. Buffy's perfect. It had everything you needed. Everything. I'm just at this point, if I were running Disney, that would be where I would be. It's like, what's going on? Why are you guys not doing anything with this? Why is it like pulling teeth? The character's still popular. You still see people just randomly talking about it. It's seen in a very positive light all over social media. And from the moment that they announced this project, it's really just gone, oh, wow. Even I have been excited. But, wow. And all I'm seeing is a lot of people just shrug. The words "I don't know" in a company that size, no. I never took that from my kids when I was questioning them about something. I don't know. You have a company that's dealing with millions upon millions of dollars, who collectively over the last 10 years probably have just literally burned through almost $800 million of losses. And nobody can come up with an explanation as to the reason why it's taken so long to get around to this. And again, Predator, Aliens, almost from the day that Disney picked them up. So read by nature, you're right. Though they've happily canceled him, too many modern Hollywood writers are clearly weak imitators. Even, look, there's people out there that are seemingly, they got nothing else going on but trying to imitate what he's done. You know? But there are also some good writers out there.
Well, I mean, you can be influenced by a writer and not be an imitator.
Yes, but too many people are imitating. That's the unfortunate thing. You know.
So, what does that look like?
The musical episode of Star Trek,
Yeah,
that they had, that was bad.
Which was actually, because the Buffy episode followed what the Xena episode.
Yes.
Which it was imitating.
Yes. Xena helped to bring that in vogue, and there are a lot of other shows that did it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Buffy gets a lot of credit is that Joss and his wife and a few others took the time to actually write new songs. A lot of TV shows use songs that either already existed or re-recorded songs.
Mm-hmm.
The art of the musical really does depend on you creating songs specifically for what you're doing to help move the plot along. See, that's the part that a lot of other shows didn't get when they would do it, which is the music is to help the story. A lot of them just had music. Let's just sing a song and show whatever. You're not writing anything that helps the plot.
Yeah.
And especially Kurtzman. Kurtzman is not that deep. He doesn't think that deep. He's more about how he's getting paid and what idea he's going to rip off from somebody else and try to convince you that it's an idea that he's had for a long time and he's just getting around to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of really oddness about Alex Kurtzman that I think once he's gone, I think a lot of people will start to see that this was an odd duck. Look, Alex Kurtzman, in my personal opinion, is not a talented creator. He is a brilliant negotiator. That's his superpower. He can negotiate like nobody's business. But from what I have learned from people who have worked with him, people that he's worked for, his personality is such that no. He's not that nice of a person. Now, his partner, it would seem, had all of the talent. His ex-partner seemingly had all the talent. Because what I've seen from him is just somebody who's able to negotiate really well. And then just basically put out slop. And doesn't care. Because with a contract like that, really, you don't have to care. You just have to make sure that you get it, you're getting paid so that you can keep your production company going. And you have a job. That's it. And that's really what he thought of it. In reality, he has his own version of Star Trek, and that's really what he cares about. He doesn't care about Star Trek. He cares about his version of it. Why? Because it gets him paid. And what I mean is, this contract also made it possible for him to make a lot of money from merchandising. And one of the things that pissed him off is that since people aren't really enjoying his stuff, he's not making any real money on merchandising, which for years Paramount was doing handily before CBS took over Star Trek. And so he just sort of guessed, hey, I could get me some of that nice merchandise cash. He ain't making nice merchandise cash at all. And since we've reached the next hour, that also brings us into some of the news, and we might as well just start out with this. It seems that according to our friends at Tachyon Podcasts, there is a good possibility that Alex Kurtzman could be around a little bit longer at CBS. It would seem that there's the possibility that they could have a deal with Paramount. Now, this deal will be under a whole different contract. So, what Paramount wants out of this is they want to have control, basically. They want the power and ability to be able to make changes. So if a show is not doing very well, they would have the power to get rid of the showrunners and replace them with people who would do what they say. And for the longest time, Kurtzman's been fighting it. He doesn't want to give up control because he also doesn't want to give up the money that comes with that. Now it would seem that real reality has started to impress itself upon this situation. While there are other people who have been interested in Alex Kurtzman, none of them want to give him the kind of deal that he's gotten up to this point. And it would seem that while he's been getting one over on everybody, continuing to all these years renew his contract and remain in charge of Star Trek, it would seem that he also hurt himself within the industry. One would have thought what he had to say about working for Universal and what happened with the Mummy movie would have been enough to hurt his career. But JJ almost made sure that in getting him rehired and working on the Star Trek movies, that pretty much just guaranteed that it kept his career going for a little while longer. We could also talk about the lawsuit, but you know what? We're not going to do that. It's just that from what Tachyon Pulse has put forward, it is assumed that we could be looking at more Kurtzman Trek, albeit a little differently, though. Yes, there's the possibility of getting a third season of Starfleet Academy. But the rumor states that they are unwilling to go past giving Kurtzman more than 2 shows, meaning that if he decides to go for season 3 of Starfleet Academy, he only has the opportunity to develop one more show. And he's going to have to make a decision as to what that show is. Now, he could do the workplace comedy from the people who, the live action workplace comedy that the people behind Lower Decks want to do. Or they could develop Star Trek Year One, which in actuality is their attempt to remake the original series. But Kurtzman's not going to be allowed to do all that. He needs to pick two. He can mix and match it any way he wants, but it's only two. That's the initial gist of what has been reported up to this point. If they can come to some sort of an agreement, contract will be drawn up, although I think Paramount will play this out long enough until they can get everything in writing that they want. Once they sign it, Kurtzman will then be under this new contract, in which case he won't be making as much money off of this. The other thought is that part of the reason why, the other part is they're going to get him to do this, they would give him a first look deal, meaning that, basically Paramount is wanting to have the right to develop other Star Trek projects outside of using Kurtzman and his company, meaning that Kurtzman and his company, through the current contract, they are the only ones that can do anything with Star Trek. Under the new proposed contract, Paramount will have more control, a lot more control, over who makes what and for how long they stay employed. And will also be able to commission other production companies to come in and pitch new ideas set within Star Trek IP. Meaning that Kurtzman wouldn't be the only one making Star Trek. And I hear that deep down, that has kind of sort of killed his ego took a real hit with that one. He signs this contract, his ego is going to take a major hit. Because then you'll have other people coming in and doing Star Trek, and you will be able to see, by way of ratings, what's more popular. What he does or what somebody else does. Okay. Let's see. Read by nature, multiple franchise killer, and nothing is ever his fault. He could be related to Kathleen Kennedy. That is true. There's been a lot of stuff attributed to him over the years, and his ego won't let him take responsibility for pretty much any of it. Shanatsky, evil wins. That's what Kurtzman taught us. Let's see. Power Ranger Donnie says Bob Orsi was supposed to be among the producers of the 2017 movie reboot of the Power Rangers. Yeah. I would love to see Orsi's script, his version of Star Trek, the one that got rejected because it was too Star Trek-y. For those of you who still refuse to believe how bad Kurtzman is, here's something that you need to understand. That contract, as I said before, gave him full rights and control, really, control of Star Trek, meaning that even JJ had to go to Kurtzman to get permission to make any movies to be released by Paramount. Okay? So when Orsi's script got rejected. Who do you think was behind that? Think about it. Wouldn't be the first time somebody's done something a little underhanded. I'm just saying, accusing a Star Trek script of being too Star Trek-y, that doesn't sound like anybody from Paramount that has been working with Star Trek for years. It sounds like a response written by somebody from the CBS side. Just saying. It would be nice to, if I can get my hands on an Orsi script to read, because I'm still under, I'm still trying to figure out what too Star Trek-y means. Let's see. Power Ranger Donnie. Let's see. Gary. In the name of all things holy, RMB, hashtag RMB for Star Trek, hashtag Commission Star Trek United. Make it so. Sky. You know what? I think they would like to, but they can't do anything until Kurtzman signs the contract or he's gone. It's got to be one of the two. Look, Alex Kurtzman's already been caught several times saying certain things that logically are not within the realm of truth, shall we say. Star Trek Legacy, that's not happening because Kurtzman doesn't want it to happen, period. He was given the opportunity to do it. He had a choice between Section 31 or Star Trek Legacy, and he chose Section 31. Okay, that's a CBS Kurtzman. That's within their realm of making that decision. Paramount would like to make as much Star Trek as possible. CBS, not so much. They're not used to dealing with Star Trek. So you got to understand there are some differences here, and somebody's ego is so fragile that even though something was made under a particular license that they have and was made within the universe that they control, because it was actually done and attributed to someone else, their ego couldn't take it. So the big no for anything related to that. So Star Trek Legacy was never going to get made, which is sad. Yeah. Let's see. Gary, expect United to be Star Trek's first live action show since Enterprise without Alex Kurtzman's secret hideout involved. That's if they're able to get the contract signed. If Kurtzman signs that contract, then yeah, they can go ahead and green light Star Trek United. That'd be fantastic. Kurtzman won't like it, but yeah, that'll be fantastic. But Kurtzman will at least happily just bury his head in season 3 of Starfleet Academy. And something tells me that Paramount will not hesitate to make a lot of suggestions about how to move forward with Starfleet Academy once season 2 airs, once it's released. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of notes. That's the other thing that is stopping Kurtzman from immediately doing this, because he doesn't like that. He likes the fact that he didn't have any notes at all. Now he's got to deal with that, and he'll have to take it seriously because these people will have control. Let's see. Gary, I neither hate nor love Academy, but I do agree on how boring its finale was. Well, boring's a word. For those people that like Starfleet Academy, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I wish you all good luck.
Thank you.
But you're going to have to deal with the fact that if you do get a season 3, you'll probably have to deal with some changes. It's not going to be the same exact show that you get after the end of season 2. Paramount is probably going to want to pursue some changes. And this is going to go one of two ways. Either Alex Kurtzman is going to make the changes, or Alex Kurtzman can find himself doing something else. His production company will continue to make the show, but they're going to be made to make some changes. In fact, one of the things that I would do is a lot of that cast has to go. They just got to go. You've got too many people. Too many people on the show. They're probably going to get replaced by someone who is a real showrunner that could actually help move the show forward. Story structure will probably change if somebody new is brought in. And there will probably be more of an emphasis on making it Star Trek rather than Kurtzman, how do I feel at this moment type Trek. Let's see. Then we have, or someone who understands the Star Trek universe from the very modest beginning. Okay, that's the thing. They may want to try to keep Kurtzman's version of the universe kind of sort of intact to either create a multiverse of Star Trek, which I think is the only way to move forward. Because, again, none of this syncs up. Kurtzman Trek has been the worst as far as trying to make sense of this. If you just separate it out from everything else, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Kurtzman Trek will work if it's allowed to be separate from everything else. Because then you don't have to, there's almost no reason to stop making Strange New Worlds if you separate Kurtzman Trek from everything else. You treat it like its own separate reality. Then you don't have to pay attention to any of the storylines. You don't have to say you're trying to fulfill whatever is part of the original Star Trek thing. You could now alter the timeline to match your own, to match the destiny that you want to have for your characters. You know, the only reason why you would keep going down this road and thus not have Strange New Worlds is ego. Because you can continue to employ all those actors. There's no reason Strange New Worlds has to end. Except Ego. And if they are able to get Star Trek Year One, I would only say they'll probably be allowed to go like 2 or 3 episodes. And once the ratings come in, if those are not up to snuff, I don't think they're going to immediately cancel it, but there will be some changes before it is. No matter what, Kurtzman's going to have to understand that his fiefdom is now completely changed. He now answers to someone else. And he either gets on board with the way things are going, or he can walk the F out that door. And I think they should take bets as to how long his ego will allow him to try to work it out before he's had too much. Before he's had enough and he decides to leave. Let's see. Power Ranger Donna says he loves Strange New Worlds despite season 3 being a missed opportunity to me, but I don't want a remake or a reboot of the original series. Well, Donnie, it's great, except that Kurtzman's ego won't let him let go of that. You know, he wants to remake all of Star Trek in this new image that he has for it because it makes it easier to sell the merchandising that he could clearly make a lot of money off of. That's really the real reason why he did any of this. He thought he was going to make some money, and nobody's buying anything. You know, it's like an infection. And part of the reason why those of us who have been saying get rid of the whole thing is we don't want it to spread throughout the whole of Star Trek. Right now, you cut off Kurtzman Trek, you could pretty much save the rest of it. Although, as I've said before, I don't mean getting rid of it. I mean allow Kurtzman Trek to be its own little reality. The characters and everything reference unto themselves. Create their own branch reality of what they think Star Trek is. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep it going. Do your books. Do whatever. And just stop with the charade of it being attached to anything else. Mainly because you have people in control of it who don't give a rat's butt about anything that's come before. They really don't like it. And again, it's like what happened with Star Wars and the High Republic. Nobody's buying into it. Nobody's buying the comics. Nobody's buying the books. Nobody's buying the T-shirts. Nobody's buying what little toys you've been able to negotiate. Kurtzman's not doing the kind of business that he thought he would be doing. He's frustrated by it. The only reason why he's not losing is because he's made so much money off of this contract that I keep referring to. That's the only thing that's making him money right now is that contract. A traditional contract, he would have been fired long ago. In fact, I think he would have been fired right around the time of Picard Season 2. Mitigated what little damage there was, and probably passed the whole thing off as some sort of a weird fever dream, loosely related to Star Trek, and just gone on from there. Real popcorn geek. Okay, hold on. Power Ranger Donnie. I'm not the only fan of all generations of Star Trek who agree on how disappointed season 3 of Strange New World was overall. Let's see, Real Popcorn Geek. We've already had year 1. It was the first season of Star Trek. While you did have a season of Star Trek, the understanding was that wasn't exactly year 1. Kurtzman and his people found some wiggle room. And so when it comes to the pilot, where no man has gone before, there's some wiggle room there. That's not exactly the original launch of the Enterprise under Captain Kirk.
They're kind of picking it up meteor res.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, the understanding is that it's there's about a year's worth of stories that when the pilot starts, Kirk has been in command of the Enterprise for about a year. So they're using that to be the context for this other show. Thus, the reason why they're calling it Star Trek Year One. Again, I don't see them doing anything that could help connect any of that, because we still have yet to see Dr. Boyce. What we do know is that Leonard McCoy was not amongst the ship's crew when the Enterprise launched. Dr. Boyce was. It's a character that you're never going to see if Kurtzman's running the show. You're probably never going to see Sulu as a member of science. And you'll never see, at this point, I don't think they have any plans for Gary Mitchell either. So just within that, you've changed everything. You know, that's the reason why I keep calling it, it's really Kurtzman's Star Trek Year One. Because it's based off of everything within how he and Akiva Goldsman have set up Strange New Worlds, which in and of itself is a bastardized version of what it actually was. Dr. Boyce is a really good character, and you haven't seen him yet. You have not seen him yet. Yeah, it's just it's sad. A little pathetic, but sad. But again, I'm happy. Look, I personally am happy for all of the people who are fans of Kurtzman Trek. You guys see something in this that a lot of other people don't see. Hang tough and continue to watch, but realize one way or another, what you've been getting up to this point, it's not going to be the same moving forward. If Kurtzman, if Starfleet Academy comes back, you'll be under a brand new contract. That means major changes. You're not immediately going to see them, but you're going to be getting some major changes. And Kurtzman's not going to like that. But that'll be the price for him bringing back that show, is that he will have to answer to someone. Which is, my opinion, what the real problem has been all this time. He's had nobody to answer to. Let's see. Let's see. Season 2 of Picard was a missed opportunity for me overall as well. Even my good friends at Trek Yards agree. Yeah, Season 2 was just...
Dude,
yeah.
I don't know. I just watched it the first season of season one. I mean the three episodes of season one, and the s- gore fest they did with Egypt. The moment that scene ended, I said, "That's it. I will not submit myself to any more of this." So I don't know how bad could have been season two. I don't care to know. Season three is the only thing that may worth something about that show. My God, season one, those three first episodes were stupid. And mm, I'm not talking about if I were good or bad. I don't want to get that far. I just will stop at stupid. So much stupid things happen there. And I say, are at least the writers being conscious about what they just wrote the paragraph before? Because this whole show contradicts everything. Oh, that show's stupid. I can't. It gives me physical pain to relive that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
it it's going to be about the difference is once the new contract is signed are going to be like before when Netflix had Cowboy Bebop, and then after when they had One Piece. One Piece works. Cowboy Bebop didn't. Why was that? Well, One Piece works because the creator of One Piece is working with Netflix and that production company to do it. They're listening to the creator of One Piece and they're working in tandem to make the best show possible. Cowboy Bebop didn't work because the creator of Cowboy Bebop got frozen out. They didn't want to listen to him. There you go. And again, I know there are probably some of you out there that really enjoyed the live action Cowboy Bebop. But even the creator of Cowboy Bebop didn't like what Netflix did. I mean, Andy, really? How
Really?
many more hours? I don't know. However much Paramount wants to do this. Seriously. Personally, if it were up to me, I just would have fired Kurtzman. It's like, get out. Pay the money, be rid of him, and let him go. He can find work with some other studio or maybe go to work, whatever studio is going to work with JJ. Oh, JJ's not really working with anybody. Yeah. Maybe you can get a job with Lindelof, wherever he ends up, because I'm not really thinking that Lanterns is going to do that well. If it does, fantastic. But yeah. But Where No Man was the original series pilot, the first one, The Cage. Yes. Yes, it was. And Power Ranger. Oh, Cam says, I've always liked The Cage and Captain Pike, but I can see why they shelved it for No Man. It's a different way of writing, a different way of doing things. Where No Man's a little faster pace. So, yeah. Power Ranger Donnie. I love both pilots for Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. In fact, at this rate, I have a lot more respect for Spock's brain as a script and as an episode of Star Trek because of everything I've seen in connection with Kurtzman Trek. In fact, it probably would have been a better musical if we were set to music too. Just kidding. I know there's, again, some of the fans out there. But, yeah. Anyway. Any other questions? Because I think that about answers part of the, well, it answers the whole thing about what Tachyon Pulse had put forward, and everybody's had a chance to ask about that. Aside from talking about Spider-Man's new trailer, which, again, I think looks cool. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is one Marvel Studios film this year that I think has a real shot at being good. But then again, you know, Tom Holland is really good at being Peter Parker. So, and
That-
John Byrne.
What did you say? Tom Holland is a good Peter Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sending my resignation to the channel.
What? I think he's a good Peter Parker.
No, he's not. He's a good Morty. Oh, Mr. Stark. Oh. No.
Wow. Okay. Hey, look. I know. You know what? I know people that feel the same way you do. I like Tom Holland. Okay. I think he's a good kid.
I'm not talking about his nature. I'm talking about he as a Spider-Man. No, it doesn't work.
I think he's good.
But then again, not.
I've liked all three of the Spider-Man actors. I've liked them all.
Yeah, me too. Toby, and Garfield.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, look. That's how you feel. Okay. I like Toby. I like Andrew and again Tom. I like them all. TAT. And Nicholas Hammond also. Yes. Do not forget Nicholas Hammond. As well as the one before him. The Electric Company Spider-Man. That was really my first live-action Spider-Man.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, Electric Company, come on. But Nicholas Hammond's cool, too. Somebody's actually done an action figure version. It's not an official figure through any of the other companies, but somebody's done the Nicholas Hammond doll. It looks exactly like him. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Monkey Jeebus.
Drake Bell. Drake Bell wasn't even close to being born when the Spider-Man on Electric Company was on. God, I'm old. Let's see. Read by nature. Honestly, I'd reboot along with the MCU and either give Garfield or a new guy a try. Someone who looks like an adult Peter. Wow. Okay. All this Tom Holland hate. Come on.
I don't hate him. I just don't like him as Spider-Man or Peter. No. Don't twist my words.
You know what? You're right. I twisted your words. What role do you think he would be good for in the MCU outside of playing Spider-Man? I mean,
That's
if you were to, if you had the power to fire him and transfer him over into another character, you know, what character could he play?
Man, you put me in a tight spot. Uh, mm,
Uh-huh. I mean, my first thought,
yeah, please, because I can't
my
come
my
up with
my, my,
anything.
my initial thought would be Iceman in the X-Men.
Hmm.
He could be Bobby.
Mm.
Oh, read by nature. At least Brand New Day looks to be in a better position than Spider-Man 3 was when its trailer hit. True. True. Hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of some character that appears to be always over caffeinated. And I and
So here's the thing. I've seen over caffeinated. I live around over caffeinated. Tom Holland is not over caffeinated.
well,
Tom
it's always
Holland.
jittering.
Okay, so what you're seeing there, Martin, is someone with a brain that works faster than his mouth. Because I cannot tell you how many times I have been that guy. Because okay, did you watch Arrow?
Oh
Unfortunately.
no.
Okay.
I saw glimpses when my daughter was watching it, and I was
So Felicity Smoke
that's
is
not Green Arrow.
so that's neither here nor there. Felicity Smoke is a good example of what Tom Holland plays. Basically, a person with a mind that goes 10 miles faster than their mouth does, and is constantly seeing about 16 different things, which is what Peter Parker actually is. That's how smart that man actually is.
Mm-hmm.
So because like when we see him in the second one, a long way from home, um, he's building things, and he's finally in a situation where he can work, almost as fast as his brain does. That's Holland's version of Peter, whereas Andrew Garfield, my least favorite of the Spider-Man, of the MCU Spider-Man. Not that I didn't like him, but his was farthest from the genius that is Peter. Um, he had more of the he had more of the he focused more on being the smartass, but he was too cocky for me by comparison to Toby, who did a great job at at the at the awkwardness and not quite fitting in wherever he was.
Well,
What? But when you
I
get to mhm,
I kind of agree with you.
mhm,
I would love to agree 100%, but here's the thing. Yeah,
mhm,
Peter Parker. Go to the
mhm,
comics. Forget about the movie. Peter Parker. He's kind of an asshole, and that's his defense mechanism. He's being pushed so much by other people that he uses his wittiness to be really really caustic. Um, but yeah, Garfield was a better Spider-Man than a Peter, and Toby was a better Peter than a Spider-Man. However, his Spider-Man was good, but Garfield's Spider-Man was more on point because when Peter put that mask, oh my god,
mhm,
he he cannot conceive crime fighting without taunting and mocking the
mhm,
criminals.
right. See, but I think that misses the essence of the character, because Spidey does it because because of what Uncle Ben said. He has a responsibility to. He feels that is what he must do. He has, I have powers. I have to use them to a specific purpose. To me, the mocking, the wittiness, that's to keep from getting too serious about punishing. You know what I'm saying? It's his way of staying good. So he's not always, because a lot of his jokes are mocking specific things that that the villain does, but not the villain themselves. If you look at a lot of Spidey's jokes, he'll mock their fashion sense. you know, um, you know, he will mock bad decisions. Based by the villain is like a lot of his original Vulture jokes were it's like, are you sure you should be wearing that? Maybe it's time for you to to be a little less cranky. Now granted, in the day and age, they were those things were based on the writers at the time, but that's one thing about Peter, is that Spidey never gets too deep into the punishment of things or anything like that, which is why he jokes. To me, it's a way of disarming the situation and making it less deep and serious. You will never hear Spidey do the Batman thing.
Well, unless he's making fun of Batman to his face.
Exactly. Which he is one of about a dozen heroes, in the Marvel universe who could, because Batman can't lay a glove on him because of the spider sense. But yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, in the second, is it Long Way From Home? Where he tries to do the interrogation. Yeah,
no way home.
No Way Home. Yeah, in that one, he tries to do the interrogation, and it is like, no, this is not me. This is not Spider-Man. Spidey doesn't do dark. And I think that's the thing about Spidey. And I think that's why he goes that way, as opposed to making threats or making I'm your worst nightmare, because he doesn't want to take himself that seriously. He doesn't want to go there, which is why Holland's Spider-Man is so good at what he does, is because I think this is a guy who has already figured out this whole fight six moves back, and you're just catching up to him, like when he outdid Doctor Strange.
Yep.
He figured out, oh, this is all fractals, and just stomps Doctor Strange and explains how he's doing it while he's doing it. And that's the thing I love about Holland's Spider-Man, is he conveys that so well, which we don't get as much of the genius from and again, I will fully admit that Garfield's Spider-Man just doesn't hit the genius on the head as well as Toby or Tom. Those are the things, and again, I will 100% admit that's just personal preference on my part. Did Garfield do a good job portraying Spider-Man? To a certain extent, he was a little darker than I liked, but he played it accurately. He played it consistently. So I can't fault him for that. I just don't have to like it as much. Do you do a good job? Yes. Did he do a good job? Yes. Did he do the job I wanted from him? No, but I'm not the producer. So I don't have much say in that.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's in the case of all three of those actors, I like them all. I think a little bit also has to be thrown away at the directors,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi and Mark Webb were the two that tackled Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, respectively. I like the way that Mark Webb was a nice enough guy and thought ahead enough that before he accepted becoming the director, that he called up Sam Raimi and asked his advice. First of all, he asked him whether or not he should take it.
Mm-hmm.
And Raimi was nice enough to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. You know, I'm sure he told him, look, just beware of this person, this person, and this person, and you'll do fine.
Right. And actually, you bring up Raimi because when we were talking about Mantis earlier, Raimi is the one who was behind the first Mantis pilot.
Yes. His production company did it. He and his guys did it, and the pilot was fantastic.
Yeah,
and
he got that part right. Raimi knows how to treat a franchise, I think.
Well, the difference was that Fox took a look at it and said, we want a green like this, but they had some changes that they wanted made.
Can we make it more white?
Basically is what they did.
Yeah.
They thought it was a little too ethnic. So they needed a couple white characters and various other things. And they said, audiences won't get it if you make it too black. So we need to, my whole thing is, yeah, you can bring in some white actors, but why did you have to neuter the lead character the way that you did? Why did you have to neuter the fact that he went from being this really smart guy who could figure out the technology to he needs this guy over here to have invented it so that he could get, he's just the guy. Now he's just a guy in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
You've taken away something important from him as a character, and which is precisely what they did with Black Lightning and with Steel, especially Steel. Character was smart on his own. He came up with all that technology. Oh, now it's going to be a white woman in a wheelchair that actually did it. And I'm a big fan of Annabeth Gish. I do not blame her. She got paid. I like her better on the X-Files though, and I hope she's able to come back in this new version, at least make a cameo appearance. Anyway, in the end, Hollywood's just going to do what they do, mainly because it's being run by tech people who really aren't as, in my opinion, familiar with how filmmaking is and never really developed the instincts to really understand film and television production in a way that people 20 years ago had to understand it. That's a lot of your problem right there. I am not a big believer in the idea that there are no original ideas. What you have are people that don't know how the machinery is run. They don't understand it. And that the only thing in their opinion is to make money, or at least it was until 10 years ago. But you've got to make money. And so ideas that you can actually use to make money have to be stuff that people understand or are very familiar with. But there's all kinds of new ideas. It's just very rare that the studios will use those ideas. So the reason why a lot of your biggest ideas come almost independently. A lot of independent, a lot of side deals, smaller studios developing things. John Wick is a good example. I think there are going to be opportunities to even do more original things, but it's going to take getting more people into the studio system that really are fans of how to make movies, fans of movies and TV shows, and not someone who has recently graduated college within the last 5 to 7 to 10 years, who don't know how to do anything but to take stuff that's already existed and repurpose it. So there you go. Oh, and Tom Holland, I agree. Tom Holland would have made a great Jimmy Olsen, different universe. Yeah, you're right. He would have made a really good Jimmy Olsen. Wow,
I would like to have seen Tom Holland try on Robin.
No. He's no. For one thing, he's way too short to be Dick Grayson.
No, I don't think he would have made a good Dick Grayson.
In fact, I don't think he would have made a good Tim Drake either. And Tim Drake's not a short guy either, you know.
Yeah, but Wolverine is not tall, and Hugh Jackman owned that role.
True. I'm just saying though, if you're gonna be any hero, I mean, I could see Tom Holland as I could see him as Kid Flash.
He would make a good Kid Flash. He would make
he would be an excellent Wally West.
I was about to go there, and I had to think on this because, you know, it's like, would he make a good? Yes, he would make a good Wally West.
Yes, he would make a very good Wally West.
He would. Yeah, I mean, but I think he found his truth in in Spidey, in Peter Parker.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are people that don't like him in that role, but if he wasn't paying Peter Parker, he'd make a really good Bobby Drake.
I think he would make a good Bobby Drake.
I think he would be. In fact, he'd be excellent as Bobby Drake. Real Bobby Drake, not current Bobby Drake. He'd make. I think it wouldn't be very good. But yeah, he would make a really good Bobby Drake. And I could see him being friends with whoever you would replace him with as Peter Parker. You know, that's the great thing about Bobby Drake. The only other character I could see him. Oh, no.
Either you just eliminated or you added to that.
No, I eliminated. I was going to say he would make a fantastic, and then I sort of stopped myself. And it's like, no, he's not arrogant enough to be Johnny Storm.
See, I was going to the same place. I was going to, is he going to say Johnny Storm? Is he going to say Johnny Storm?
He's not.
I think Holland has the range to do it, but
yeah.
I don't think he would be as enthusiastic about it.
He would make a good Speedy.
Yeah. He'd make a good Roy Harper. He'd. But yeah, I think he's found his truest role in Peter Parker. Anyways. Yeah, we're at like 110 at this point.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to break this down and move this episode on so that these lovely people can get on with the rest of their day.
Yeah, because we're at 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I think it's time that we. Yeah,
Martin, I'm glad you're still here.
But wow, Cam, we're gonna have to invite you on the show to talk about some of this because you're talking about your night drinking with Harrison Ford story. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to hear some of that stuff. Wow, Cam. Well, listen, before I go, let me at least wrap this up this way. I want to tell everybody down in and around the Orlando area, good luck. MegaCon starts technically today. And for those of you lucky enough to go, have a good time because there's going to be a lot of people there. And I do mean a lot of people there. There's going to be quite a few, for one thing, there's going to be quite a few podcasters and YouTube personalities there also. There's a lot of people going to meet up there. So this will be one of the largest meetups because I think, let's see, I know that R&B, well, no, R&B, not R&B. I know that Nerdrotic was talking about being there, and he's bringing with him a lot of people. There's a lot of personalities that are going to be there along with Nerdrotic. So he's bringing an army of different personalities who are going to be meeting there. I think Critical Drinker is supposed to be there. And a few others. So this is definitely the weekend that if you've got nothing better to do or you're pretty close to the Orlando, Florida area, this is the weekend. Trust me on it. You're going to have a good time. Next week is that's Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. And so for those of you who are going to be in and around the Kansas City area, now there's still time for you to get, tickets, I think, for both MegaCon. I think they're on sale still now. And I know that there are still probably tickets for Kansas City Comic-Con, Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. And that one's also going to be big. For those of you who aren't going to be there, MegaCon's going to have their big, I think it's going to be the 20th anniversary panel for the Lord of the Rings films. And they're going to have a little bit of a mini reunion up there. I know it'll be all 4 Hobbits at MegaCon. Planet Comic-Con's only going to have 2 of them, along with... let's see. I know it's going to be 2 of them, and there's also someone else that's going to be there. I know they're going to have a good portion of the cast of The Boys. So if you want to be able to see the cast before their big roundup and goodbye 5th season, now's a good time. That's it. Now I remember. MegaCon is also going to have Orlando Bloom down there. So I think they're going to have a photo opportunity with the Hobbits and Legolas. So, wow. This is just the right period of time for all of this. Okay? And remember, I know I've been saying this. I say this every year. It's convention season, kids. Make sure you have your hand sanitizer. Make sure you... make sure you take all your proper medication. And as Martin just put out there, make sure you are wearing comfortable shoes. It's so important to be wearing comfortable shoes. Trust me on this.
And if you're older or have anything that limits your mobility, take a painkiller before you go.
Yeah.
Because I cannot tell you the difference between I took in a leave before I got here and I didn't leave.
Yeah. Make sure everything's charged up, both your mobile chair and any and all electronic devices that you have and or need. Make sure you have spare batteries with you. Trust me, you're going to want all this stuff ready to go. But most of all, travel with friends, make it a fun
Yeah.
time. But if you have to travel by yourself, be careful, watch yourself, be aware of your surroundings. And if things look a little dicey, always seek out security. Having worked security for a few events, that's what they're there for. They're there to help you. Okay. So I think that'll be it for today's show. Have a good time, all you lucky ducks, either going to or already in Orlando for MegaCon. I will eventually make it down there myself. Although I'm also talking about going back to Dragon Con, which, again, if you've never been to Dragon Con, you need to go. Downtown Atlanta. Woo!
Yeah.
Anyway, for myself, Big Ben, Martin, and all of us here in the Pop Culture Minefield Network, it is always great to really just be here. I consider myself the luckiest guy in the world that I get an opportunity to do this. And all you guys keep showing up and having fun, which is really what the important thing is. So I want to thank you. And with a special shout out to Ariel Ballet, Monkey Jeebus, Lord Thoth, Cam's Crash Courses, Power Ranger Donnie, Connie Cleary, James Caserta, my brother James Shinatsky, Penny, the lovely Penny, Read by Nature, Double J James Jameson, because he's cool like that, and Real Popcorn Geek, along with our good buddy Gambit, because Gambit's cool like that. I just want to thank all of you and everyone out there that has joined us, even if this isn't live. So, have a good time. Have a happy Thursday and a great weekend. And we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Matt Damon.